Imagine for a moment that your life has been a long, arduous hike up a magnificent mountain. For 60 decades, you have been climbing. The terrain was steep, the weather unpredictable. You carried a heavy backpack filled with tools necessary for the climb. Ambition to build a career, anxiety to protect your family, the accumulation of assets to ensure survival, and the heavy armor of ego to withstand the judgments of others. These tools were heavy, but they were useful. They helped you survive the storm. They helped you reach the plateau where you stand today. But here is the truth that very few people tell you when you cross the threshold of 60. The climb is over. You have reached the summit. The air is thinner here, but the view is spectacular. However, you are still wearing that heavy backpack. You are still carrying the ice axes, the heavy ropes, and the protective armor designed for the struggle of the ascent. To enjoy the view and to walk freely across this beautiful plateau, you must do something difficult. You must unpack. You must realize that the very things that got you here are the same things that will weigh you down if you refuse to let them go. This next chapter of your life is not about acquiring more. It is about refining what remains. It is about lightness. It is about freedom. Today, we are going to explore the 7 essential burdens you must set down to truly embrace the magnificence of your life after 60. For most of our adult lives, we are actors on a stage. We perform the role of the competent employee, the perfect parent, the successful neighbor, or the unshakable pillar of the community. We curate our lives to ensure the audience applauds. We worry deeply about how the play is being received. But after 60, a wonderful, quiet realization should begin to dawn on you. The audience has gone home. They are busy with their own plays. The theater is empty, save for the people who truly love you. Why then are you still performing? Letting go of the need for external validation is the first and most liberating step you can take. When we are young, we build our identity on how the world perceives us. We define ourselves by our job titles, the size of our homes, or the prestige of our social circle. But these are merely costumes. I once spoke with a retired executive who was miserable. He told me he felt invisible because people no longer stopped when he entered a room. He was clinging to a role that no longer existed. He was trying to command a room that he was no longer in charge of. The freedom of this decade lies in the transition from impressing to expressing. You no longer need to prove you are smart, wealthy, or capable. You simply are. When you stop trying to manage everyone else's opinion of you, you reclaim a massive amount of energy. Use that energy not to paint a picture of a perfect life for others to admire, but to actually live a life that feels good on the inside. There is a dangerous seduction that happens as we age. We begin to fall in love with the ghost of who we used to be, or even worse, the ghost of who we could have been. We look in the mirror and mourn the body we had at 30. We look at our bank accounts and regret the investments we didn't make at 40. We look at our choices and wonder about the paths we didn't take. This is driving through life while staring fixedly into the rearview mirror. It is the surest way to crash the vehicle of your present happiness. You must grieve the loss of your younger self, yes, but you must not worship it. Your younger self had energy and smooth skin, but they also had insecurity, confusion, and a lack of wisdom. You are the survivor of your own history. You have earned your scars and your gray hairs. There is a concept in psychology called counterfactual thinking, the obsession with what if. If I had married that person, if I had taken that job. This is a thief. It steals the reality of today for a fantasy of yesterday. To let go of this burden, you must practice radical acceptance. Acknowledge that every mistake was a necessary bridge to get you to where you are right now. If you remove one brick from the wall of your past, the house you live in today might collapse. You cannot change the trajectory of the arrow once it has left the bow. Watch where it lands and walk from there. Imagine walking along a beautiful beach at sunset, but in your pockets, you are carrying jagged, heavy stones. Each stone represents a person you wronged, a slight you haven't forgotten, or a betrayal you haven't forgiven. Your pants are sagging, your belt is digging into your waist, and you are exhausted. You cannot run into the water. You would sink. Why do we keep these stones? Because we mistakenly believe that holding on to anger punishes the person who hurt us. We think that by staying angry, we are holding them accountable. But the offender is likely sleeping soundly, perhaps not even thinking about you. You are the one carrying the weight. You are the one losing sleep. After 60, forgiveness becomes a matter of self-preservation. It is no longer a moral luxury. It is a physiological necessity. Your heart, your blood pressure, and your nervous system cannot afford the chronic inflammation of resentment. Forgiveness does not mean saying, "What you did was okay." It simply means, "I am no longer willing to carry the pain of what you did." It is an act of supreme selfishness in the best possible way. You are reclaiming your mental real estate. Take those stones out of your pocket. Look at them one last time. Acknowledge the weight, and then throw them into the ocean. Not for them, for you.
We live in a society that conflates busyness with worth. For 40 years, your value was determined by your productivity. How many hours did you work? How much did you produce? How full was your calendar? When we step away from the workforce, or when our children leave home, a terrifying void can appear. We panic. We rush to fill the silence with noise. We volunteer for committees we don't care about. We say yes to favors we don't want to do. We keep running because we are terrified that if we stop, we will cease to matter. This is the busy trap. There is a profound difference between motion and action. Motion is running on a treadmill. You are sweating, but you aren't going anywhere. Action is walking slowly toward a destination you truly desire. After 60, you must let go of the guilt of resting. You must dismantle the belief that you must earn your existence through labor. You have already earned your seat at the table. It is time to embrace selective slowness. A morning spent drinking coffee and watching the birds is not a wasted morning. It is a morning spent connecting with the rhythm of life. If you fill every hour with activity, you leave no room for serendipity, for wonder, or for the quiet whispers of your own soul. Stop measuring your day by what you finished and start measuring it by how you felt. As we age, the world can feel increasingly chaotic. Technology changes faster than we can adapt. Societal norms shift. Our bodies become unpredictable. In response, many people over 60 grasp tightly for control. We become rigid. We insist on doing things the way they've always been done. We worry obsessively about health markers, political shifts, or the economy. We try to build a fortress of certainty to keep the chaos out. But rigidity is brittle. The oak tree that refuses to bend in the storm is the one that snaps. The willow, which yields and sways, survives. Letting go of the illusion of control is terrifying, but it is the only path to peace. You cannot control the future. You cannot control the world your grandchildren will inherit. You cannot control every cell in your body. Instead of control, seek adaptability. Develop a curiosity about the changing world rather than a judgment of it. When something unexpected happens, a health scare, a financial shift, ask yourself, how can I flow with this, rather than how can I fight this? There is a serenity in admitting, I don't know what will happen next, but I trust my ability to handle it. That is true resilience. It is not the absence of storms, it is the confidence that you can learn to sail in new waters.
Let's talk about your physical environment. Over 6 decades, we accumulate. We fill our attics, our basements, and our drawers. We keep the good china we never use. We keep the clothes that haven't fit in 10 years. We keep stacks of magazines just in case. We tell ourselves we are keeping these things because they have value, but often we are actually keeping them because we are afraid of the future or because we feel guilty about the past. Your home should be a living space, not a storage unit for your memories. When you are surrounded by too much stuff, your mind feels cluttered. Every object in your home is silently demanding your attention. It needs to be cleaned, moved, organized, or insured. There is a specific lightness that comes from decluttering in your 60s. It is often called Swedish death cleaning, but let's call it life editing. Ask yourself, does this object serve my life today? Not the life I had 20 years ago, and not the life I might have if I suddenly take up a new hobby. Does it serve me now? If the answer is no, let it go. Pass it on to someone who needs it. Sell it. Donate it. The memories are not in the object, they are in you. By clearing your physical space, you are signaling to the universe that you are making room for new experiences, not just guarding old ones.
I have to. How many times a week do you say that phrase? I have to go to that dinner. I have to host the holiday. I have to listen to this person complain for an hour. Duty is a noble virtue, but misplaced duty is a prison. Many people over 60 are stuck in patterns of obligation that drain their life force. They are taking care of everyone else's emotional needs at the expense of their own. You may have spent decades being the caretaker, the fixer, the one who smooths everything over. It is a hard habit to break,
But you must realize that saying no to others is often saying yes to your own well-being. You are allowed to set boundaries with your adult children. You are allowed to distance yourself from friends who only call when they need something. You are allowed to change traditions that are no longer joyful. If you are hosting a holiday dinner that leaves you exhausted and resentful for 3 days, you are not doing anyone a favor. You are serving them stress on a platter. Change the tradition. Order takeout. Go out to eat, or let someone else host. At this stage of life, your time is your most non-renewable resource. Do not spend it out of guilt. Spend it out of love. If it's not a hell yes, it should probably be a no.
In photography, there is a time of day known as the golden hour. It happens just before the sun sets. The harsh light of midday softens, the shadows lengthen, but the light becomes warmer, richer, and more magical. Everything looks more beautiful in the golden hour. You are in the golden hour of your life. The harsh, bright struggle of high noon is over. You have survived the heat. Now you have the opportunity to bask in this warmer, richer light. But you cannot enjoy the golden hour if you are still carrying the heavy backpack from the climb. Letting go is an act of faith. It is trusting that you are enough, just as you are, without the props, without the busy schedule, and without the armor. As you wake up tomorrow morning, I invite you to ask yourself, what can I put down today? Maybe it's a grudge. Maybe it's a worry about the future. Maybe it's just the need to be right. Put it down. Leave it on the side of the trail. Walk forward with open hands and a lighter heart. The view from here is breathtaking, but only if you look up to see it. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this message resonated with you, consider sharing it with someone who might need to lighten their own load. Until next time, travel light.